Hi everyone, I'm going to share a very personal scoop of my life with you. I'm very excited about this video because it is going to have so many pretty details about what all used to happen in my school. Things were different there. It was a different kind of a school, and now that I'm so far away from that life, I truly miss it. At that time, when I was a kid, I used to hate going to school. School wasn't my favorite. I didn't want to go to school at all. And okay, I'm so happy talking about it. Anyway, I've got a list here. There are roughly 9 or 10 items, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy listening to these items. I am from St. Agnes's Loreto Day School, and this is a good school in Lucknow, pretty well known for its discipline. And that is something that I'm very proud of. The discipline was one thing that truly made it stand out. Okay, now let's come to point number one. Point number one that I have is walking behind the teacher. So there was this thing in our school we were taught. I don't know, it just came into us. Nobody really explained this to us, but we learned from each other. Looking at each other, we learned this from each other, that you never have to walk in front of your teacher. There were long corridors. So if you're walking and you suddenly realize that there's a teacher coming right there from behind, you would just stop there. You will not move forward. You will stop and you will let the teacher overtake you. Okay, and then when they are ahead of you, that is when you start walking behind them. You cannot walk in front of a teacher. You always have to follow them. I feel very good about it because this is something that just shows how much respect you attach to your teachers. And we no matter, we didn't like all of them, but we respected them. We really respected them. We would never ever say a word that would hurt a teacher. Never. Point number two is the merit demerit system. There was a system, a register was maintained in every classroom, and the monitor would take care of the register, and the register was called the merit demerit register. And in the end of the week, merits and demerits would be counted. Merits for good doings and demerits for bad doings. And that is how an entire account of every child was maintained as to how they have taken care of themselves throughout the week. These merits and demerits were given by the teachers. Okay, so if you do something nice, you end up receiving a merit or maybe a little more than one merit, 2 merits, 3 merits, depending on the quality of the deed. If you've not done something nice, maybe you score a little less in your test, or you forget your copy, your notebook, your book, or you were assigned a task and you didn't complete it, a demerit would be given, or maybe a few more demerits. There used to be a house meeting where an account of every student was discussed. So if you've got good amount of demerits, I remember there was a week I received 19 merits, which was a very big count, by the way, probably the highest in the class, 19 merits. But since I received 3 demerits, so every demerit was cancelled by 3 merits. So my 9 merits were gone in cancelling out the 3 demerits that I received, and that is why nobody clapped for me. So that is how it used to happen. And you know what? The system is followed around the world in several countries where government takes care of the merits and demerits of the citizens. What a great idea to keep everybody in their place. Next thing was the surname part. We were never addressed with a name. So for me, I was never Alina. I was always Rais. My friends used to call me Rais. My teachers used to call me Rais, and that's how it used to be for everybody else. Only surnames, no first names. Another weird thing that used to happen was this habit of sitting down anywhere in the ground in the entire school. No matter where you're walking, if a teacher instructs you to sit, no matter where you're standing you're standing next to a toilet, you're standing in the playground, you're standing in the field, anywhere, you would just sit wherever you're standing. So my parents used to make fun of this habit. They would say, I mean, what's wrong with your school? Whenever we come visit your school, there is a bunch of girls sitting everywhere in the school. A group is sitting here, a group is sitting there. So the entire school, we had seats in a class, we had chairs in a class. But apart from the chairs that we had in a class, everywhere else we would just sit in the ground. That was very normal for us. Okay, next point is the needlework SUPW. Saturday used to be a half day, and half day was padhai likhai, and the rest of the half was SUPW, or so, if you say it that way, socially useful socially useful productive work. That's the full form. So SUPW and needlework classes every Saturday. Till today, I'm good with my embroidery skills and stuff that I learned in my school. Next is a very interesting point, Cockhouse Party. I'm not sure if this is the right name, but I think that is how we used to call it. It was the Cockhouse Party. And what used to happen was that the merits and demerits of the entire school were counted at the end of the year. And whichever house won, the total number of the net merits had to be the maximum. Whichever house won would get a party from the school, and only that house girls would come in color uniform, color skirts, and what do you call it, color dress, and the rest of them would wear the uniform. So it was fun going to the school and you're dressed all pretty in pinks and oranges and the reds, and the rest are sitting in their white uniform, and then you would study with them half the day, and rest of the half day after the interval was the party. All the same house girls, the girls who were receiving the party, would go to the hall of the school and have a grand celebration for winning the Cockhouse, and the rest of the half would sit and study in the classrooms. That was the best part. how mean am I? But yeah, that's how it was. I had surprisingly, when I was in class 10th, that was my last year in the school, we won the Cockhouse and we received the party. It was very special because my house had actually won after a very long time. We were not winning. I was in the green house. The name was Hope, House of Hope. And House of Hope won that year and we received the party. We wore the color dress and rest of them were wearing uniforms. Okay, the next interesting thing was that our school had a lot of foreigner teachers. Yeah, so there were actually foreigners coming in and teaching us. There were several of those people, because my principal was also an Australian. So she had several other Australian staff, I don't know coming from where, but there used to be foreigners in our school who would teach us. In that way, I feel that it helped me kill my hesitation with working and talking with foreigners, because otherwise you feel a little hesitant when the culture mixes with somebody else. So yeah, we had several teachers who were foreigners. Yeah. Okay, another very, very, very nice thing that used to happen in our school was the parade. We used to have a parade on the 26th of Jan and the 15th of August. Both these dates we had a parade, and it was a high quality parade. It wasn't something where everybody is just swinging their hands and there's nothing, no harmony and nothing. No, it was a proper parade. We were watched for every hand movement. It had to be all aligned. It was very good. The standards were very good. We were taught brilliantly how to parade, how to march past. And there used to be a chief guest who would take a round, just like how it happens in our country. It was just replicated from there, and we would stand straight. The chief guest would take a round, and then when the chief guest has done the flag hoisting, after that they would sit down, and that's when the march past would begin, and then a house would win. So we used to march past in our houses. One house would be selected for the best march past, and then merits were awarded, again merits for the year, and those merits were counted for the house, and that used to help win the Cockhouse Party. Okay, though this was a missionary school, another very fascinating thing was that Sanskrit used to be a very important subject. So we had all these foreigner teachers, and we had all this culture of English all around us where everybody would speak in English, but again Sanskrit used to be a very important subject. There was this mandatory thing. It was mandatory to pass Sanskrit. I don't know if it was a rumor or it was just said just like that, or it was actually something that held weight, but we were told that if you do not pass Sanskrit, you would not be awarded another class, and you'll have to repeat the class if you don't pass Sanskrit. And I was so bad at Sanskrit, so bad, because I had switched school in class 7th, and I didn't have Sanskrit as a subject there, so I was very bad at it. In this school, everybody was so good that they would count Sanskrit as a very scoring subject. Okay, ये तो बहुत आसान है, 90 के above तो मेरे आएंगे. That's how everybody would talk about it. And for me, getting a 33 and 40 was a very extreme task. I remember my time. There was this one time in class 7th when I had to appear for my Sanskrit exam the other day, and I was crying. I actually was crying sitting in my room that I don't even know how to write one single sentence in Sanskrit. And if I don't pass this subject, if I flunk Sanskrit, I flunk the class and I'm screwed. What will I do if that happens? My dad is gonna kill me. So that's how it used to be. The next thing was the uniform checking. I don't know why they attach so much importance to uniform that they would actually so weird. Class 5th or 6th, I don't know till when, but till a good age, they would actually, we all were girls. Everybody was a girl, no boys there. And there were white uniforms. So there was a system of wearing white bloomers. If you don't know what a bloomer is, you have to check for yourself. White bloomers under your white uniform, and they would actually pull up the skirt and check if you're wearing a white bloomer or not. So that was the extent of checking the uniform. It was crazy. Who checks what's inside the skirt? Yeah, that's so weird. You don't do that, no? But that's how they used to do it. They would actually pull up the skirt and see if the girl is wearing a white bloomer. But again, this was only up to a certain class, not for the big girls, for the small ones. Weird though. Very weird. You shouldn't do this. This is wrong. So I guess I've covered everything. I totally enjoyed shooting this video. I was reminded of so many things. I hope you learned something interesting from the video and you liked what all I told you. Please share in the comments anything that you find very interesting or you find was similar in your school. Please share in the comments. I would love to know what all used to happen in your school, because school is a very fond memory for most of us. It was mostly fond for me because of the systems in the school, but yeah, otherwise I didn't really like going to school because I couldn't make friends. Yeah, you know me, I've told you that in the past that I am very bad at making friends. So yeah, I was mostly a loner and that made the school time a little difficult for me. Alright then, I've covered everything. I've even covered the Cockhouse Party with you. Party was amazing, and I told you about the dress we used to wear. Color dress, yes. That's all about it in the video, guys. I loved shooting this one for you. I'm so excited, I'm so reminded, and I'm so nostalgic right now. I'll just go back to my bed and think about these things for a while before I do something else. Okay, bye.